Good morning. My name is Senator Gilbert Cedillo. I want to welcome all of you here to Altamed. I want to thank you for your presence and for your attention to this very challenging time and the challenging issues that confront us. I want to begin, before I pursue the program, by thanking Gaslo de la Rocha for his tremendous leadership here at Altamed. It should be a more joyous occasion. I grew up in this neighborhood. I played football across the street. Pop Warner champions in 1966, believe it or not. I used to get my teeth done here. Dr. Chanamay still working here? No? I used to get my teeth taken care of here, even though I had insurance. And the reason I came here, even though I had insurance, was because the quality of service that has historically been provided here, and that has historically been provided by Altamed. It is an extraordinary organization, just to be redundant, but to be clear, because of the quality of services that it provides for our community. And you're going to hear today from some who receive services, and some who provide services, and some who represent this area, about the importance and the need for us to stop playing games with people's lives, to stop playing games with the California budget, and to stop playing politics with the lives of people who are in peril and in jeopardy, and who rely on Altamed, on this site, and all the services that Altamed and its colleague institutions provide for the working poor and the working men and women of this county and of this state. And so let me begin by introducing Liliana Ramirez, a mother of a 7-year-old Angelo who has spina bifida and is wheelchair bound. You will hear her story, the importance of the services that are provided, the care and love that's provided, and the medical services that are essential for her and her family, essential for her to be the good mother that she is.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Liliana Ramirez, and I am like many parents in California that have a child with special needs. My son, Angelo Moss, is 7 years old and was born with spina bifida at birth. His special needs services and primary care is extremely important for Angelo and his well-being. My family and I rely on Social Security, Medi-Cal, and in-home supportive services to pay for our cost of living and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Governor Schwarzenegger's proposed 10% budget cuts across the board will limit for services for my son. His decision is unhealthy for my family and for California. Governor Schwarzenegger needs to be more compassionate and understanding. I urge our governor to work more reasonably with the California state legislators to pass a fair budget that will not harm and be vulnerable to vulnerable population. And my son would like to say something as well.
Dear Governor Schwarzenegger, please don't cut my benefits because they help me be healthy and fit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't he impressive? Huh? Let's hear it for him again. This young man's more articulate than I won't say. He's very articulate. That's all I'll say. I have the privilege of introducing Alicia Ayala, who is a longtime resident. She's a senior. They call her a senior. I'm a senior. I don't know what that means. And a recipient of Integrated Care Management Program services. And these services, like many, are being considered for curtailing and for cutting. And she wants to tell her story and the importance of these programs and services for her and her family. Thank you. Alicia.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Buenos días, señor.
Perdón. Sí, perdón. Sí.
Muy bien, señor. Yo creo que no puedo seguir después de hablar este niño con su corazón. Today I want to talk about two very important issues in California: the budget and the impact on seniors' care. First of all, I am only 78 years young. And I'm a resident of East Los Angeles. I was born in East Los Angeles in 1930, okay? I've been a client of the Ultimate ICMP program, also known as linkages, for 6 years. The reason I'm here is because seniors programs such as linkages, multipurpose senior services program, and adult day healthcare centers are in danger of losing funds under the proposed budget cuts by the governor. As time has passed, and as I get younger, my lower back problems are getting worse. So I do need the services that my program provides. I have a lady that comes once a month for 3 hours to help me with the things that hurts the most. And then they have a special equipment for in the shower and things like that. I have a social worker that keeps in touch with me every 3 months or over the phone for my needs. And I think, to me, these programs are so essential because I always tell my sons, I don't want to go and end the last days of my life in a nursing home with 4 beds in the same room. I want to stay home. I'm fortunate to be one of the more active among my fellow seniors. Other seniors are persons with disabilities, suffer more conditions, but also prefer to live in the comfort of their homes. However, the linkages of ICMP program is in danger of experiencing budget cuts due to the California budget deficit, which may affect the program and mean fewer services for me and other Californians. We need our governor to understand the value and the need for programs for us seniors like INCMP and the other ones I mentioned. We cannot afford cuts to senior care as the senior population continues to grow. Stand with me today to put an end to this budget cut delay that could result in reduction in services and to preserve senior programs that save money and promote our independent living and self-dignity. Thank you.
Bueno, quiero presentar a Geraldo Shapiro. Trabajan aquí en la farmacia y no quieren los cortes de 10% que el gobernador tiene en su presupuesto. Él tiene muchos clientes, incluye clientes con cáncer. Y su padre de él abre la farmacia en 1945. Y él estaba aquí, empieza su trabajo en 1969. I'm very proud to introduce Jerry Shapiro, independent pharmacist who is concerned that he may be forced not to fill his patients' prescriptions if the 10% cut is introduced. And his clients suffer the gravest of all diseases. Many of them suffer from cancer. His father opened the pharmacy in 1945. Mr. Shapiro opened and took over that business in 1969. We're very proud to have him here, and we appreciate the care that he gives to all his patients and to their families, and particularly his service here in a community that's underserved, but not lacking in quality of service. Thanks to Mr. Shapiro. Mr. Shapiro, please join us.
This is a very difficult time for me. I've been practicing pharmacy since 1966. I'd like to thank you all for inviting me. But I think, first of all, we need to do a quick history lesson. In February of this year, the Assembly and the Senate passed a tax on all providers who provide services and care for the beneficiaries in the community here who fall under the safety net. On July 1st of this year, this tax was implemented. My particular business features a 90 square mile delivery area that we take care of disabled people and other beneficiaries. We speak 5 different languages in our pharmacy. Right now, I'm referring more and more of my patients to chain pharmacies because they're willing to take the loss. I don't feel that I should fill prescriptions below my cost. I have a chart here that I'm willing to give to anybody who wants to look at it showing my pharmacy, which is fairly representative of most of the independent pharmacies, and what my loss would be, and amounts to about 20%. This cut, including those for physicians and other healthcare providers, impacts the people under the safety net more than many others. They depend on the providers who are willing to care for them in these communities. I have never considered myself a pharmacist. I've considered myself a patient advocate. And now that is being put in jeopardy. Currently, I'm a plaintiff in a federal lawsuit that will be heard today in a federal court, 312 North Spring Street at 2 o'clock. I invite everybody here to attend. I think this could be a watershed moment. I think the state has usurped federal law, and I think it will be proven. I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today, and it's time for the people to assert their rights. Thank you.
As I said earlier, while we may be an underserved community, we're not a community lacking in quality services. Quiero decir que la siguiente persona es un gran líder de nuestra comunidad. Trabajan toda su vida acá en nuestra comunidad para dar los servicios que nuestra comunidad merece. Da toda su vida en su proyecto para dar servicios a nuestra comunidad. Un gran amigo de mío, un gran líder en todos los niveles de su trabajo. I want to present someone who is an incredible leader from the east side of Los Angeles, a young man who has dedicated his entire life, a young man who has dedicated his entire life, very capable, very able, could pursue a more luxurious career in another field, in another area, could focus more on promoting himself and benefiting himself, but he's chosen a different journey and a different path. He's chosen the path of service. He's chosen the path of delivering health care for those in the greatest need and delivering it with the greatest of quality. One of the most impressive aspects about the leadership of Gastelo de la Rocha is his constant commitment and talk about the quality of services that he provides. I've been with him at many of his facilities. I've seen the work he's done. I've seen him travel up and down this hemisphere to engage other leaders about the importance of quality health care for all people, regardless of their income status or what language they speak or what income they have. He is just a champion for working men and women in the area of health care. We're so proud to have him and his resources, the president and the CEO of Ultimate. Gracias del Norte.
Well, I am deeply humble. Thank you for the beautiful introduction, Gilbert. I appreciate it very, very much. I have to tell you that the two people who were before me here, Liliana Ramirez and Alicia Ayala, they're two members of my board of directors. Can you see why we do the things that we do in this community? When you actually have consumer board members, as we have Judith Herman here, we have Greg Valenzuela, two other members of my board of directors that have joined us. Thank you for being here. It's this board members that keep us in track, that focuses on the needs in the community. So thank you very, very much. And it is indeed a pleasure for me to be here this morning. It is a very important occasion, and it's terribly important to hear from our patients directly the impact that this budget is going to have on their lives, and the real pain that this budget is going to bring in this community. We are Ultimate Health Services Corporation as a comprehensive community health center with a mission to provide coordinated, high-quality health and human services in Southern California to Latino and underserved populations. As many of you know, at Ultimate, we continue to experience tremendous growth. We expanded into Orange County this year and will open facilities in Ventura County. In fact, the need for health care will continue to increase, not decrease. With over 6.5 million people in the state of California who are uninsured or underinsured, and 2.7 million people in the counties of Orange and Los Angeles, the need for services, organizations like ours will continue to increase. And so we will continue to build our capacity. But we are in need of partnerships. Our partnership is with the state of California, and it always has been an important partnership. Today, we at Ultimate provide on an annual basis, over 500,000 visits to more than 90,000 patients in 68,000 households in Los Angeles and in Orange County. Medi-Cal is the provider and the principal provider, or the payer, I should say, of approximately 48% of those visits. That's huge. 500,000 visits. That's the size of the city of Long Beach, if I remember my statistics correct. Okay. In addition to what we provide from Medi-Cal, many clinics throughout the state of California relied on state funding for our programs, such as the expanded access to primary care programs that provide the revenue that we need to provide care for people who are not insured. There are a host of other state programs for seniors, for youth, for disabled populations that are absolutely critical to our patients. We need to step up to the challenge of delivering that care. Not only is it the right thing to do, but to ignore our safety net providers only risk destabilizing an already frail healthcare delivery system. So on behalf of each and every one of the 90,000 patients and the patients that you heard about here this morning, I want to urge our governor and our state legislators to come to a fair and quick budget agreement that will preserve the needed safety net service delivery system that is absolutely critical to our communities. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here with us this morning. Thank you.
very proud to bring up colleagues of mine, people I work with on a daily basis who share the same values, the same commitment that all of us are here for, a belief that quality service is a right for all human beings, not just those who are privileged. The next speaker is also a candidate. I'm required almost to say that a candidate to be the next supervisor of the 2nd District. We look forward to his ascension to that position because we know that with him and his leadership that we'll be able to pull together the types of partnerships with the Altameds in the community, with the delivery of services from the County of Los Angeles, and a partnership with the State of California that will raise the level of healthcare services to the level of what people need. Quiero presentar un líder en nuestra legislatura, un senador, un gran líder, un candidato por la posición de supervisor del Distrito 2. Y nosotros tenemos mucha confianza en él porque nosotros sabemos cuando él estaba ahí en la posición de supervisor, todos nosotros vamos a trabajar juntos para dar los servicios a todo el pueblo que merecen y él tiene la capacidad para dar estos servicios en cooperación con nosotros en el condado y en el estado. My pleasure to introduce our colleague, the senator and the next supervisor of the 2nd District, Mark Ridley Thomas.
We thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here because I am a big supporter of Altamed. And I think we ought to give the leadership, the staff, the patients, and all those who make Altamed the great provider that it is a big round of applause because they deserve it. Altamed deserves all the love we can give them. So to Costello de la Rocha, to Marie Torres, and all those who make it happen here, you can be assured that those of us who are here today are here because we believe in what you do, we believe in how you do it, and we will not turn our backs on you, not one moment, because we know that the services provided in this community are extremely important. And so I'm sure I'm sure that I speak on behalf of the Legislative Black Caucus as its chair. I am confident that those who are here speak in solidarity with the Latino Caucus and well beyond when we say that we are returning to Sacramento for the express purpose of fighting on behalf of those who are deeply dependent on the resources of institutions and quality providers such as Altamed. And we say to the governor, as constructively and as plainly and as forcefully as we can, we're not buying what you're selling. We want to be clear about that. We don't believe he created this mess in part with certain decisions that he made. He has to live with them, and it will take the collective wisdom of our majority leader, our colleagues, Senator Cedillo, as well as Assemblyman Hernandez, to help get him out of the mess that he in part created. That's our job. That's why we have a legislative and executive branch of government. Some of you know that next week is going to be a time where we focus on the National Night Out against crime in communities across the nation, certainly in our respective communities. And let me just tell you what I think crime looks like. Crime looks like, in my mind in this moment, not passing a budget where you know that people who are dependent on the services of the state will suffer, hurt, and in many instances fall in the state of ill health that they cannot retrieve from. That's what crime looks like to me, and that's why we're here today, fighting as clearly and as forcefully as we can for a full range of opportunities for people to flourish in this state. After all, this is California. We have an extensive network of opportunities. The clinics are here to help people, and it costs more to take care of people when they are ill than it is to do what we need to do to prevent them from becoming ill. This is smart use of public funds, smart use of taxpayers' dollars. So we are saying balance the budget quickly, not by cutting. We have to have a broad view of this, Mr. Governor, and our colleagues who are on the other side of the aisle. Why? Because we know what it means to have communities that need to move forward with respect to the resources that are afforded them. I want to say in conclusion that we are here today because UltraMed provides a critically important service. You can't get services that are better than what is provided through this institution, and we celebrate that. But they are carrying the load for other institutions at this point in time that are suffering, that are breaking down owing to failed decisions. Our job is to get that budget passed. Our appeal to you is to urge the governor, and that way I think we can move on with the business at hand, which is to represent you as effectively as we possibly can. We salute our controller who said no to the governor. We salute John Chung who said no to the governor. We celebrate that. The only thing that will happen when you do that is you'll make it possible, less possible for people who would otherwise be able to go to the pharmacy to get their medications to purchase them. It's a failed decision. It's bad thinking. It's unwise, and those of us here and others will not tolerate that. So when you see us standing up, say a word of confidence, a word of hope, whisper a prayer so that the governor will do the right thing, and we keep an eye on him to make sure that he does the right thing by us. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to introduce a new colleague of ours. Quiero presentar un nuevo miembro de la legislatura. Pero hoy ellos se llama el asambleísta Ed Hernández, pero antes todos de sus clientes hablan a él de doctor Hernández. Él es uno de los únicos doctores que están en la legislatura. Él sabe muy bien las necesidades de pacientes. I'm happy to introduce a new member of the legislature, a new colleague of ours, but to his patients, they call him doctor, not assemblyman. And they call him doctor because he is a doctor. He's one of the few doctors in the California legislature. And so he's uniquely positioned because of years and years of service that he's provided to his patients, uniquely positioned to understand the need to pass this budget, not to have budget cuts, and to make sure that the services for those in need are provided in a timely way, in a way that ensures the quality of their health care. My pleasure to introduce Assembly Member and Dr. Ed Hernandez.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, and it is a pleasure and an honor to be here. Before we get started, I'd like to personally take this time to not only thank, but I want to commend UltraMed for what they do, and that is they provide the much-needed care in not only in this community, but in communities throughout Southern California, LA County, but as we heard earlier, now in Orange County, but the much-needed community to predominantly Latino communities. Now, why are we here today? We're here today because unfortunately we're at an impasse with our governor with regards to coming up with a budget. And the unfortunate thing about having this impasse is that who are the people and who is the constituency that is affected the most? The individuals that are hurt the most are the most neediest. The poorest, the elderly, the disabled, the individuals who don't have the resources to be able to go by and their day-to-day operations and to be able to get the health care they need. It is the individuals that need it the most that get hurt the most. Let's talk a little bit about our healthcare system, or let me rephrase this, our broken healthcare system. First of all, we have very, very few healthcare providers that come to these communities. We have very few specialists that want to come to these communities. And the reason why is exactly what we're talking about. It's because of the poor reimbursement rates that we get. I want to just kind of dovetail on what Mr. Shapiro mentioned and how devastating that 10% cut is going to be to pharmacists. You might think, well, they're a business, they can absorb it. That's not necessarily true. It is the small mom and pop operations that what ends up happening, if it cuts into their profits, are going to end up closing their doors. They're not going to take Medi-Cal patients. And what happens is we in the legislature, we end up doing the absolute worst thing. We end up cutting off our nose to spite our face because we'll cut now, but we're going to end up paying later. We're going to end up paying by higher medical costs because those patients, the ones at the Altameds and the Jerry Shapiros of the world, they can't see because of the poor reimbursement rate or the lack of reimbursement rates, will not get the primary care they need, will end up in the emergency room, and are going to end up costing us more. And it's going to end up costing the state and the taxpayers more. We need to fix our healthcare system. That's without a question. But before that, we need to fix this budget problem, and we cannot balance the budget on the backs of the poor and disabled, and we cannot balance the budget by cutting the fees to the Altameds and the providers who come to these communities. We need to make sure we have a fair and balanced budget, but not on the backs of the poor. And I am here to say that I am supportive of this cause, and I will make sure that we will not suffer, or that they will not suffer, and we will not have those cuts. And I thank you for allowing me part of this morning. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker needs no introduction, but deserves one. Our next speaker is well known for championing the causes of working men and women. Our next speaker is also a doctor, and referred to as doctor by her students. And it's just a champion in the Senate for many years, a champion before she got to the Senate, constantly advocating on the rights of working men and women, regardless of their legal status, regardless of their circumstance, always ensuring that we remain true to all the promises of our Constitution, that we remain true to all that we say that we are. It's my great pleasure. Quiero presentar un campeón de todos que merecen asistencia en cualquier lugar de su vida, un campeón por todos los pobres y del clase trabajador por tantos años. También ella es una doctora. Sus estudiantes llamar a ella Doctora Romero. We call her Senator Romero, also Dr. Romero. Please welcome the senator from the adjoining district.
Good morning. Good morning. It's an honor to be here in East Los Angeles. I'm Senator Gloria Romero, and let me just deliver this message to the governor. Mr. Governor, we're standing in East Los Angeles. East LA is not Hollywood, where it appears, if you watch the movies, everybody's young and healthy and wealthy and full of Botox. But in East Los Angeles, we're standing here today on Whittier Boulevard in East Los Angeles because we know that there are over 7 million Californians without health care insurance. And if you look at the districts that Senator Cedillo, myself, Senator Ridley Thomas represents, we're talking about disproportionately low income, poor families, immigrant families, African American, Latino, Native American, people who have been left out of the access to health in this country and in this state. Here in East Los Angeles on Whittier Boulevard, 27% of the families that we represent live below the poverty line. 34% of the families and the children that we represent do not have access to health care. And we know that the easiest way to go into bankruptcy or foreclosure is something like just a cancer, an illness where you don't have health care. And then you have to, of course, turn to the clinics, the emergency rooms, the ultimates who do God's work because the governor and my Republican colleagues refuse to do their work. Right now, we have probably 25 votes to move forth a balanced budget. It will be a difficult budget, a budget which I'm not happy to vote for, but facing a $15 billion deficit that has seen the shuttering of schools, the shuttering of opportunities to build roads and highways. We now see the governor reaching out like a Scrooge to take away crutches, canes, dentures, wheelchairs. That is not the California that we want. We elected a terminator, but God forbid we didn't realize he intended to truly terminate the state in the year 2008. So we call upon this governor, cut the Hollywood ploys, trying to lay off 200,000 state workers, which, by the way, will only add to the patients and visitors in the emergency rooms and the clinics here on Whittier Boulevard. That's not the answer. We call upon the governor to truly stop acting, start governing. Let's work across the aisle to bring forth a balanced budget that involves some cuts, but new revenue that is needed to represent and remain as a safety net for the people in California who so desperately need it. We look forward to meeting with the governor anywhere, anytime. Come to East Los Angeles, Mr. Governor, and see the faces of the children and families who are counting on all of us to make sure that health care is not only for your wealthy friends in Hollywood. Thank you.
See what I was talking about? She raised her voice like we're going to raise our voice. Let me say in conclusion, and there really is only one issue that exists here today. The crisis that exists here today is a crisis of leadership. Quiero decir una cosa más en el fin. El crisis que existe hoy es un crisis de liderazgo. We have a crisis of leadership, not of capacity. California remains today, even on its worst day, the 8th largest economy of the entire world. Not just of this nation, but of the entire world. And so we have a challenge today. And the challenge of leadership is for us to step forward and do the things that are right, not just popular. Governor, you know what are the right things to do. Governor, we need you to speak truth. Governor, we need you to provide the leadership that is necessary to resolve this budget. No more games, no more gimmicks. It is wrong to threaten clinics with cuts. It is wrong to threaten workers with job loss. It is wrong to reduce salaries. It's wrong to play games with the lives of hard-working men and women. And so we need you to provide the leadership that you were elected to provide. California has tremendous capacity, tremendous resources, and we should be embarrassed that we can't provide the quality of health care, the quality of education, the quality of infrastructure that this great state needs and deserves if it's going to remain a great and prosperous state. Gobernador, el crisis que nosotros tenemos, tú sabes, es un crisis de liderazgo. Nosotros queremos y necesitamos su acción para mejorar la vida de todos. Nosotros tenemos la capacidad acá en California. No es un problema de capacidad, es un problema de liderazgo. Y tú eres el líder, tú corren por la posición de gobernador. Y nosotros estamos aquí esperando su liderazgo. Governor, we are waiting here in East Los Angeles, waiting for your leadership. It's time to stop playing the games, time to stop the gimmicks. Thank you very much. Individual questions, or you want questions from the podium? It's up to you guys. Or you want individuals? they're not going to have any impact because that's not the problem. And so it's wrong, and we all feel strongly that it's wrong to play games and gimmicks with the lives of working men and women. They're not the cause of the problem, and so there's no point in threatening them, as there is no point in threatening the working men and women of this community with cuts to services that they need. We are committed, and we have been diligent in performing our duty. We've offered a proposal, a budget plan that balances the budget in a responsible way, in a way that eliminates the games and the gimmicks, in a way that will bring stability and certainty to this state and all its residents, not just for this budget year, but for the future. And we need the governor to provide leadership and to recognize that and come to the table. He needs to provide leadership. He needs. I'm going to bring my colleague up here. He needs, as the leader of the Republican Party, to bring his members along to reality. Here's a man who knows well Hollywood and movie making, but this is real, and we need him to bring his colleagues forward to deal with the realities that California confronts today, as the world is today, and not something that they think about in a Hollywood movie. Yes. Right. Go ahead, Supervisor.
I think it's fair to say that Democrats have fought very hard to move beyond a one-dimensional approach to closing out this budget. We have values that we are prepared to communicate and to stand by them. Those values have been well expressed by each legislator here today. And the message to the governor is it's simply nonsensical to precipitate the kind of confrontation that is in the waiting by talking about reducing 200,000 people's wages to below the minimum wage as established in the state of California. It's nonsensical, and we won't tolerate it. It's just that simple. Now, this governor happens to be a member of a particular party, a party that is not cooperating with him. He has more difficulty, the governor has more difficulty getting response and support from Republicans than he does Democrats in most instances. That is the problem, not the Democrats, but his own party, and the members of that party are giving him such a hard time until he wishes that he was back on one of those sets, blowing up things all over again. He's having a hell of a time getting cooperation from them. So the longer this takes, I have to tell you, is a function of the lack of cooperation internal to his own party. They have weakened him as a governor. Rather than making him strong and successful for all of us, they have behaved in such irresponsible ways. And let me just simply say, we are not going to turn our backs on you. Senator Romero has said we're not going to do it. Senator Cedillo said we're not going to do it. Assemblyman Hernandez has said we are not going to do it. So the reason it's taking as long as it is simply because they wish for us to turn our backs on UltraMed, and we are not going to do it.